And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella, based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Olive, Nina, and Esme. Olive, Nina, and Esme made Cinderella do all the chores. "Sweep the floors, wash the dishes," said Olive, Nina, and Esme. One day, the king of Onlyville's messenger said, hear ye, the king of Onlyville is going to throw a ball. And whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Singling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Olive said, he's going to marry me. Nina said, no way, Olive. He's going to marry me. Esme said, both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is so sad that she cannot go to the ball and marry Prince Singling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and asks Cinderella what is wrong. Why are you crying, Cinderella? She asks. Cinderella responds, I wanted her to go to the ball and marry Prince Singling, but I'm not welcome. The fairy godmother waved her wand and chanted the magic word, Winnity, Waterity, one! And then, Cinderella's chores are all done. But the fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, go fetch me a good old pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has one pumpkin. The fairy godmother waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word, Winnity, Waterity, one! Again, and to turn Cinderella's do-rag and clothes into a gown. I've never seen such a wonderful gown. I get a load of my glass slippers, and then the pumpkin into a carriage drawn by 2 strong horses. The fairy godmother said, have fun, Cinderella, but I will warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Singling was wondering who he should marry. Olive, Nina, and Esme said all together, he's walking towards me. But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Singling dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Singling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled around Onlyville to find her and brought the glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the house where her Cinderella and her stepsisters lived. He said, ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try this glass slipper? Olive is first, but her foot is too big. Nina is next, but her foot is too small. Esme is last, but her foot didn't fit either. Suddenly, Prince Singling noticed Cinderella singing. Winterella said. Prince Singling, is that you? Prince Singling said, of course it's me. Winterella gets so excited because she's having to have her Prince Singling back. And they lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story before bed enters doors. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to my video. Take care. Bye and good night, everybody. Andrew's Doers. Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Tina, Winona, and Una. Tina, Winona, and Una made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Tina, Winona, and Una all together. One day, the king of Doubleburg's messenger said, Hear ye, the king of Doubleburg, his majesty, is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and cross shall marry his son, Prince Twinning. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsister, Tina said, he's going to marry me. Winona said, no way, Tina, he's going to marry me. Una said, both of you are wrong, he's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is very sad that she cannot go to the ball and marry Prince Twinning. And her fairy godmother asks Cinderella what's wrong by saying, why are you crying, Cinderella? Cinderella responds, and sadly, I wanted to go to the ball and marry Prince Twinning. Her fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of double magic. She waves her magic wand and chants the magic words, dibbly dabbly doubly do. And all of Cinderella's chores are done, but the fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 2 pumpkins. The fairy godmother waves her magic wand and chants the magic words, dibbly dabbly doubly do. Again, turning the 2 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 2 strong horses, and then Cinderella's clothes into a gown and crown. I have never seen such a double-tasted gown. And get a lot of my glass slippers. Cinderella is now ready for the ball. Her fairy godmother said, have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Twinning was wondering who he should marry. Cinderella, of course. Tina, Winona, and Una shout out together, he's walking towards me! But he's not. But he is walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Twinning danced happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she screamed out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Twinning was so worried, afraid that she might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Doubleburg to find her, and brought the 2 glass slippers with him. He knocked on the door where Cinderella, Tina, Winona, and Una lived. But instead of Cinderella, he found Tina, Winona, and Una. Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on these 2 glass slippers? Prince Twinning asks. Tina is first, but her feet are too big. Winona is next, but her feet are too small. Una is last, but her feet are on the right size of her. Suddenly, Prince Twinning noticed Tuarella's sweet singing. Tuarella shouts excited, "Prince Twinning, is that you?" Prince Twinning responded, "Of course it's me. You are from my father's ball. I love you. Will you marry me?" Tuarella gets so excited because he's happy to have Prince Twinning back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and buy our merchandise. Take care. Bye. Oh, yeah. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella, based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 5 ugly, mean stepsisters named Tasha, Hannah, Rena, and the twins Ellie and Emmy. Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Esme made Cinderella do all the chores. "Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all," said Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Emmy all together. One day, the king of Tripleville's messenger said, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Tripleville is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Stripling." But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are... Tasha said, "He's going to marry me." Hannah said, "No way, Tasha! He's going to marry me." Rena said, "Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me." Ellie said, "All 3 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me." Emmy said, "Are you kidding, sister? He's going to marry me." Later, Cinderella is so sad because she cannot go to the ball. Suddenly, Cinderella's fairy godmother asks what's wrong. "Why are you crying, Cinderella?" she asks. Cinderella responds, "I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Stripling." The fairy godmother said, "I can help with a bit of magic." She waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word, "Triply, trappily, troubly, true." And then Cinderella's chores are all done, but the fairy godmother said she's not done. He then said, "Cinderella, go fetch me a good old pumpkin." Luckily, Cinderella has 3 pumpkins. The fairy godmother waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word, "Triply, trappily, troubly, true." And then the 3 pumpkins turned into a handsome coach drawn by 6 strong horses. And then Cinderella's do-rag and red dress turned into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, "I've never seen such a triple-tastic crown and gown. And get a load of my glass slippers." The fairy godmother said, "Have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken." Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Stripling was wondering who he should marry. Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Emmy say all together, "He's walking towards me." But he's not walking towards any of them. But he's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Stripling dance together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she's running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Stripling was so worried. He afraid that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled around Triplefell to find her and brought the tiny glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the house where Fiorella and her ugly, mean stepsisters lived. Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you try on this glass slipper? Tasha first. Hannah second. Rena third, and the twins last, but none of their feet fit. Suddenly, Prince Tripling noticed Fiorella singing. She exclaimed, "Prince Tripling, is that you?" Prince Tripling said, "Of course it's me." Fiorella gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Tripling back. And he doesn't need to put on the glass slipper back on Fiorella's foot because it's so uncomfortable. And they both live happily ever after. The end. And now, Anna Does Everything proudly presents Fiorella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. What? Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Fiorella. Fiorella had 4 ugly, mean stepsisters named Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona. Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona made Fiorella do all the chores. Sweep the floors. Wash the dishes. Do it all, said Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona all together. One day, the king of Quadrillion's messengers said, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Quadrillion is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Forting." But Fiorella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. "He's going to marry me," said Fiona. Ophelia said, "No way, Fiona! He's going to marry me." Ursula said, "Both of you are wrong! He's going to marry me." Ramona said, "All 3 of you are wrong! He's going to marry me." Later, Fiorella is so sad because she can't go to the ball and marry Prince Forte, while her fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, "Why are you crying, Fiorella?" Fiorella responds, "I got lots of chores to be done. I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Forting." Fiorella's fairy godmother said, "I can help with a bit of magic." Fiorella's fairy godmother chants the magic words, "Quiddity, quaddity, quaddity, quoo," and waves her magic wand. Because of that, all of Fiorella's chores are all done. But Fiorella's fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, "Fiorella, go fetch me a pumpkin." Luckily, Fiorella has 4 pumpkins. Fiorella's fairy godmother said, and then chants the magic words, "Quiddity, quaddity, quaddity, quoo," and waves her magic wand to turn the 4 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 8 strong horses. And then Fiorella's closer to a gathered crowd. Fiorella said, "I've never seen such a quadtastic gown. And get a lot of my glass slippers," her fairy godmother said. "Have fun, mighty Fiorella. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will turn back to the way it was before." Fiorella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Fortin was wondering who he should marry. Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona said all together, "He's walking towards me!" But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Forella. Forella and Prince 14 dance happily together. But later, Forella realizes something is midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince 14 was so worried that he might never see Forella again. So he traveled all around Quadruple had to find her. I brought the 2 tiny glass slippers with him. He knocked on the door of the home where Forella and her stepsisters live, but instead of Forella, he finds Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona. He then said, "Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can anyone try on these glass slippers? Fiona is first, but her feet are too big." Ophelia said, "But her feet are too small." Ursula and Ramona did the same thing, but their feet don't fit either. Suddenly, Prince 14 notices Swarla's sweet singing. "The glass slippers fit!" Forella gets so excited because she's happy to have her Prince 14 back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And if you want to see some sequels, tell your friends about it. And then, take care, Andrew Stores. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Fiverella, based on the story of Cinderella. Andrew's Doors, I hope you enjoyed it. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Fiverella. Fiverella had four ugly, mean stepsisters: Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella. Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella made Fiverella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella. One day, the king of Fivingham's messenger said, hear ye, the king of Fivingham is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Squintabling. But Fiverella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Fiona said, he's going to marry me. Isabella said, no way, Fiona. He's going to marry me. Verona said, both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Ella said, all 3 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, Fiverella is so sad that she cannot go to the ball and marry Prince Quintupling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother asks, why are you crying, Fiverella? Fiverella responds, I got a lot of chores to be done. I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Quintupling. The fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. Quantity, woo! The fairy godmother's magic did all the chores and then turned Fiverella's do-rag and ribbed dress into a gown and crown. Fiverella said, I've never seen such a quintastic dress, and get a load of my glass slippers. But she's not done yet. The fairy godmother said, fetch me, Fiverella, Go fetch me a good old pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 5 pumpkins, and the fairy godmother turned the 5 pumpkins into a handsome coach. It's drawn by 10 strong horses. The fairy godmother said, "Have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken." Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Quintone said, "Who should I marry?" Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Alice said all together, "He's walking towards me." Well, he's not walking towards any of them, but Prince Quintupling is walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Quintupling danced happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And when she was running so fast, she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Quintupling was so worried that she might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Fivingham to find her, bringing the tiny glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door where Cinderella and her 4 ugly mean stepsisters live. Prince Quintone said to her stepsisters, Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper?" Fiona is first, but her foot is too small. Isabella is next, but her foot is too big. Fiona and Verona and Ella are last, but neither of the feet match. Suddenly, Prince Quintupling noticed Cinderella's sweet singing. "Prince Quintupling, is that really you?" "Of course it's me, Cinderella." Cinderella is so excited because she's happy to have her Prince Quintupling back. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. And take care, Andrews Doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Bye. And now, Andrews Doers. Andrews proudly presents Sextuple. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier. Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier made Cinderella do all the chores. "Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all," said Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier all together. Then one day, the king of Sextuple's messenger said, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Sextuple is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Sextuple." But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Sophia said, "He's going to marry me." Isabella said, "No way, Sophia, you're wrong. He's going to marry me." Xavier said, "Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me." Later, Cinderella is so sad, doing chores while her fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, "Why are you crying, Cinderella?" Cinderella responds, I have lots of chores to be done, but I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Sextuple. Her fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. Cinderella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand. Because of the 6 other chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 6 pumpkins. Cinderella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 6 pumpkins into a handsome coach. And then drawn by 12 strong horses, and then Cinderella's clothes into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, I've never seen such a sextuple-tastic gown, and get a load of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? Her fairy godmother said, well, you can't. But have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to the way it was before. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Sextuple was wondering who he should marry. Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier all together, he's walking towards me. But he's not walking towards any of them. Prince Sextuple is walking towards Cinderella. May I have this dance? As Prince Sextuple, Cinderella responds, I would be delighted. Prince Sextuple and Cinderella dance happily together, but later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost both of her glass slippers. Prince Sextuple was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. He then traveled around Sextuple hand to find her, and brought the 2 glass slippers with him. By the time he arrives, he knocked on the door of the house where Cinderella, Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier lived. But instead of Cinderella, he finds Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier. Prince Sextuple said, Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you go try on these glass slippers? Sophia is first, but her feet are too big. Isabella is next, but her feet are too small. Xavier was last, but her feet didn't fit either. Suddenly, Prince Sextuple notices Cinderella's sweet singing. Cinderella then gets so excited because she's having her Prince Sextuple back. And Prince Sextuple doesn't have to put the 2 glass slippers back on her feet because they're so uncomfortable. And then Prince Sextuple and Cinderella lived happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Drew, you want to see some sequels? Tell your friends about it. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and buy our merchandise. Oh, look at that! And if we time it just right, it's 6 minutes and 6 seconds. And now, Anna Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 5 ugly, mean stepsisters named Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi. Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi all together. One day, the king of Sevenville's messengers said, Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Sevenville is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Septupling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi argue over who will marry Prince Septupling later. Cinderella is so sad that she can't go to the ball and marry Prince Septupling, while her fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, Why are you crying, Cinderella? Cinderella responds, I have lots of chores to be done. I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Septupling. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. So she waves her magic wand. Because of that, Cinderella's chores are all done. But Cinderella's godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 7 pumpkins. Cinderella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 7 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 14 strong horses. And then Cinderella's wear clothes into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, I've never seen such a septuple-tastic gown. And get a lot of my glass slippers, Cinderella's fairy godmother said. Have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everyone will change back to the way it was before. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Septupling said, Who should marry me? Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi say all together, He's walking towards me. But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Septupling dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Septupling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So she traveled around Sevenville to find her and brought the glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the home where Cinderella, Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi lived. But instead of Cinderella, Prince Septupling finds her 5 ugly, mean stepsisters. He then said, Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper one by one? Sophia first, but her foot is too big. The rest is the same, but none of their feet fit. Suddenly, Prince Septupling notices Cinderella's sweet slimmy. The glass slipper fits! Cinderella and Prince Septupling now live happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrew's Doers, and this is the 2835th episode of Andrew Does Everything. Hang on. And now I've been debating on making the Cinderella sequels. I could do that. So, if you want to see Cinderella 2 7 Dreams Come True, maybe I can do it a 7-episode tradition. And all of you, I hope you enjoyed this parody fairy tale about rags to riches. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And, oh, look at the time. And well, Andrew's doers, if we time this video just right, and a few minutes later, wait for it. And if we can time this video just right, maybe I could still do it a 7-episode tradition, by the way. And then this video is 7 minutes. 7 minutes. And take care, Andrew's doers. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and buy our merchandise too. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young adult girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 7 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Sophia, Isabella, Xavier, Tina, Eliza, Eloisa, and Nina. Some of them constantly made fun of Cinderella. They made her do all the chores. 16er wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! Said Sophia to Nina. One day, the king of Sextuple's messenger arrived and said, Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Sextuple is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Sextuple. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. They then argue over who will marry Prince Sextuple. Later, Prince Cinderella is so sad doing chores about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Sextuple. Suddenly, her fairy godmother asks Cinderella what's wrong by saying, Why are you crying, Cinderella? In which Cinderella responds, I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Sextuple, but I have lots of chores to be done. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. She chants the magic words. Sextidentity, sextidentity, sextu, and waves her magic wand. Because of that, 16 chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet, she said. Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin and some ice. Luckily, Cinderella has 16 pumpkins and 32 mice. Cinderella's fairy godmother chants the magic words. Sextidentity, sextidentity, sextu, and waves her magic wand again to turn the 16 pumpkins into a handsome coach, the 32 mice into horses, and then Cinderella's ripped clothes into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, I've never seen such a sextuple-tastic gown! And get a load of my glass slippers! Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? Cinderella's fairy godmother said, Well, you can't. But have fun, Cinderella. But I will warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to the way it was before. And so, Cinderella accepts the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Sextuple was wondering who he should marry. Sophia to Nina, say all together, "He's walking towards me!" But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Prince Sextuple then asks, "May I have this dance?" When Cinderella responds, "I would be delighted." Cinderella and Prince Sextuple dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realizes it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Sextuple was really worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Sextuple to find her and brought the glass slippers with him. By the time he arrives, he knocks on the door of the home where Cinderella and her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of Cinderella, Prince Sextuple finds Sophia to Nina. He then said, "Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on these glass slippers?" Sophia is first, but her feet are too big. Isabel is next, but her feet are too small. The rest did the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, Prince Sextuple notices Cinderella's sweet singing. The glass slippers fit! Cinderella gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Sextuple back, and they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrew's Doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Knows Everything, and buy our merchandise at andrewknowseverything.com. Take care! Bye! And now, Andrew's Doers, Andrew Knows Everything proudly presents 27erella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Once upon a time, there was a young woman named 27erella. 27erella had 11 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Tina, Winona, Elena, Nina, Tanya, Yelena, Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi. 11 of them made fun of 27erella and made her do all the chores. 27er wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! Said 27erella's ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters all together. One day, the king of 27ville's messenger arrives and says, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of 27ville is going to throw a ball with lots of food at 9 o'clock and it's dance time. And whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Sextuple. Can I come?" asks 27erella. But she's not welcome. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. "He's going to marry me," said Tina, the oldest stepsister. "No way, Tina, wrong. He's going to marry me," said Winona. "Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me," said Elena. The rest say, "All three of you are wrong. He's going to marry me." Later, 27erella is so sad, upset, and distraught about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Sextuple. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and comforts her. There, now, 27erella. I can help with a bit of magic. Nobody will know it's you." And so, she chants the magic words, "Allah 27 pianos," and waves her magic wand. Because of that, 27erella's chores are all done. But 27erella's fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, "27erella, go fetch me a pumpkin and some mice." Luckily, 27erella has 27 pumpkins and 54 mice. 27-year-old's fairy godmother chants the magic words. Allah, 27 pianos! And waves her magic wand again to turn the 27 pumpkins into a handsome coach. The form mice into strong horses, and then 27 rows were closed into a gown and crown. 27 rows says, I've never seen such a 7-vegetable-tastic gown! And get a load of my glass slippers! And climbed into the coach. 27-year-old's fairy godmother said, have fun, 27-year-old, but I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to normal. And so, 27-year-old accepts the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince 7-vegetable was wondering who he should marry. The king, 27-year-old, suggests, what about 27-year-old? In which Prince 7-vegetable says yes. And not a minute too soon. 27-year-old arrives in the ball just in time. 27-year-old's ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Tina, Winona, Elena, Nina, Tanya, Nina, Sophia, Ella, Veronica, and Naomi say, he's walking towards me altogether, but he's not walking towards any of them. Prince 7-vegetable is walking towards 27-year-old. He then asks, May I have this dance? Said Prince 7-vegetable asks, to which 27-year-old says, I would be delighted. And so, Prince 7-vegetable and 27-year-old dance happily together. But later, 27-year-old realizes almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince 7-vegetable was so worried and sad that he might never see 27-year-old again. The king of 27-year-old Seville comforts him by saying, There now, son. I think we'll be able to find 27-year-old, he said. And so, they began their journey all around the neighborhood to find 27-year-old and brought the glass slippers she was with them. By the time they arrived, they knocked on the door of the house where 27-year-old and her 11 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of 27-year-old, they find her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters, Tina and Naomi. Prince 7-vegetable says, Ladies, my father, the king of 27ville, and I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper? Tina is first, but her foot is too big. Winona says, but her foot is too small. Nonsense! It fits! The rest are the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, Prince 7-vegetable and the king of 27ville, known as 27-year-old's sweet singing. Prince 7-vegetable, is that you? 27-year-old heart exciting. The king of 27-year-old 27ville says, My dear daughter-in-law, we found you! Exclaims the king of 27ville, and the glass slipper fits! And so, 27-year-old Prince 7-vegetable and the king of 27ville lived happily ever after. The end. And Andrew Stewart's, I hope you enjoyed this story. And I've been debating on making them some sequels. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and introduce everything. Buy our merchandise, etc. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrew Knows Everything proudly presents 40-year-old. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a plot twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young adult girl named 40-year-old. 40-year-old had 5 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Fiona, Ophelia, Ramona, Tina, Yanina, and Yanina. All 5 of them constantly made fun of Forty-Rella and made her do all the chores. 40, wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! Said Fiona, Ophelia, Ramona, Tina, and Yadina all together. One day, the king of Quadrantubblingham's messenger arrives and says, Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Quadrantubblingam is going to throw a bomb, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Quadrantubling. But Forty-Rella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. They Fiona, Ophelia, Ramona, Tina, and Yanina ran with huge excitement and picked out dresses to wear to the ball, but argue over who will Prince Quadrantubling marry. Later, Forty-Rella is so sad because she wanted to go to the ball and marry Prince Quadrantubling while doing chores, and her fairy godmother asked her what's wrong by saying, Why are you crying, Forty-Rella? Forty-Rella responds, I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Quadrantubling. Her fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic and make your wish come true. No one will know it's you. Forty-Rella's fairy godmother then waves her magic wand. And because of that, Forty-Rella's chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Forty-Rella, go fetch me and your friends, the mice. Luckily, Forty-Rella has 40 pumpkins and 80 mice. Forty-Rella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 40 pumpkins into a handsome coach. And the 80 mice into strong horses to the coach to draw on, and then Forty-Rella's were close into a gown and crown. Forty-Rella said, I've never seen such a quadrangular-tastic gown. And get a load of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? Forty-Rella's fairy godmother said, Well, you can, Forty-Rella, but have fun. But I will warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to the way it was before. And so, Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Quadrantubling was wondering who he should marry. Fiona, Ophelia, Ramona, Tina, Yanina all say together, He's walking towards me! But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Forty-Rella. Forty-Rella and Prince Quadrantubling dance happily together. But later, Forty-Rella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Quadrantubling was so worried that he might never see Forty-Rella again. And so he and his father, the king of Quadrantubling, traveled all around the neighborhood to find her and brought the 2 glass slippers she lost with them. By the time they arrived, they knocked on the door of the home where Forty-Rella and her 5 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. He then says, Ladies, my father, the king, and I have a favor to ask. Can any try on these glass slippers? Fiona is first, but her feet are too big. Ophelia is next, but her feet are too small. Nonsense! They fit! She said. The rest is the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, Prince Quadrigen Tumbling and the King of Quadrigen Tumblingham noticed Cinderella saying, "The glass slippers fit!" Cinderella gets so excited because she's happy to have her father-in-law and her husband back. Prince Quadrigen Tumbling and they all lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and Internet Everything, and buy our merchandise at interneteverything.com. Take care. Bye. And now, Internet Everything proudly presents 55-erella. It is based on the story of Cinderella, with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there lived a young woman named 55-erella. 55-erella had 10 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Fatina, Ivana, Fernanda, Tasha, Yadina, Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella. Fatima, Ivana, Fernanda, Tasha, Yadina, Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella. May 55-erella do all the chores. 55-er wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! Said Fatima, Ivana, Fernanda, Tasha, Yvonne, Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella all together. One day, the king of 55-ham's messenger arrives and says, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of 55-ham is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Quadrigen Tumbling." But 55-erella is not welcome. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. "He's going to marry me," said Fatima, the oldest stepsister. Ivana said, "No way, Fatima. He's going to marry me." The rest said, "No, he's going to marry me." Later, 55-erella is so sad, distraught, and upset doing chores about not going to the ball, and marry Prince Quadrigen Tumbling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and comforts 55-erella by saying, There now, my dear sweet 55-erella. I can help with a bit of magic," and waves her magic wand. And because of that, 55-erella's chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, 55-erella, go fetch me a pumpkin and some mice. Luckily, 55-erella has 55 pumpkins and 110 mice. 55-erella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 55 pumpkins into a handsome coach, the 110 mice into horses, and 55-erella's fairy ripped clothes into a gown and crown. 55-erella says, "I've never seen such a quinquagintuple-tastic gown! Get a load of my glass slippers! Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough?" 55-erella's fairy godmother says, "Well, you can't. But have fun, 55-erella. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before. Back to normal." And gives her a clock to tell her what time it is. 55-erella accepted the warning and climbed into the coach. Meanwhile, at the ball, the king of 55-ham says, "Good evening, everyone. My son, Prince Quadrigen Tumbling, was one who he owed to marry." "Isn't that right, son?" In which Prince Quadrigen Tumbling responds, "Yes, father." Suddenly, 55-erella arrives just in time for the ball. Fatima, Ivana, Fernanda, Tasha, Yadina, Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella say, "He's walking towards me!" all together, but he's not walking towards any of them. Prince Queen Quadrupling is walking towards 55 Arella. "May I have this dance?" asks Prince Queen Quadrupling, in which 55 Arella responds, "I would be delighted." Prince Queen Quadrupling and 55 Arella dance happily together. But later, as 55 Arella checks her clock, it's almost midnight! And so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Queen Quadrupling is really sad and worried that he might never see 55 Arella again. The king of 55 Arella comforts him by saying, There now, son. I think we'll be able to find her." And so, the king of 55 Ingham and Prince Queen Quadrupling began their journey all around 55 Ingham to find 55 Arella and brought the glass slipper with them. By the time they arrive, they knock. Prince Queen Quadrupling knocks on the door of the house where 55 Arella and her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters live. But instead of 55 Arella, they find her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters. Prince Queen Quadrupling then says, "Ladies, my father and I have a favor to ask. Can you try on this glass slipper?" Fatima is first, but her foot is too big. Ivana is next, but her foot is too small. "Nonsense! It fits," she said. "The rest are the same, but none of their feet are the right size." Suddenly, Prince Queen Quadrupling and the king of 55 Ingham notice 55 Arella singing. "Prince Queen Quadrupling, is that you?" she hollered excitedly. Prince Queen Quadrupling says, "Of course it's me. My father and I found you. I love you. Will you marry me?" And the glass slipper fits. And so 55 Arella, the king of 55 Ingham, and Prince Queen Quadrupling lived happily ever after. The end. And I bet it was a fun story, right, Andrew Stewart? I've been debating on making some sequels. So, if you want to see maybe someday 55 Arella 2, 55 Wishes Come True, tell your friends about it, okay? And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merchandise at AndrewDoesEverything.com. And have you found your prince or princess? Just let me know, and maybe my Cinderella parodies will come true and become real. Take care, Andrew Stewart. Bye. And now, Andrew Stewart, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents 72 Arella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a plot twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young woman named 72 Arella. 72 Arella had 10 ugly, mean, and wicked stepsisters named Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Eleonora, Natalia, Tasha, Yadina, Tina, Winona, and Una. All 10 of them constantly made fun of 72 Arella and always made her do all the chores. 72 Wedge, sweep the floors, wash the dishes and windows, do it all, said the 10 ugly, mean, and wicked stepsisters all together. And then one day, the king of Duo-Septuagintumlingham's messenger arrives and says, hear ye, that king of Duo-Septuagintumlingham is going to throw a ball alongside his son, Prince Duo-Septuagintupling. Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Eleonora, Natalia, Tasha, Yanina, Tina, Winona, and Una ran with huge excitement and picked out dresses to wear to the ball, but argued over who Prince Duasetagetale will fall in true love with later. 72 Arella is so sad, distraught, and upset about not going to the ball and marrying and being best friends with Prince Duasetagetale. Whatever will I do? She whimpers. 72 Arella's fairy godmother arrives and comforts her. There, now 72 Arella. I'll make your wish come true with a bit of magic, she said. She then waves her magic wand to do all the chores for 72 Arella, and then turn her attire into a princess's attire with a pair of sparkly glass slippers. 72 Arella says, I've never seen such a Duasetagetale-tastic gown, and I love my glass slippers. But how am I going to get to the ball? Fortunately, 72 Arella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 72 pumpkins into a handsome coach, and then 144 mice into horses for the coach to be drawn. 72 Arella says, Oh, fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? In which her fairy godmother says, Well, you can't, but have fun, 72 Arella. But I would warn you to return by the stroke of midnight. That's when the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to normal. And gives her a clock to tell her what time it is. And so, 72 Arella accepts the warning. At the royal ball, the king of Duasetagetale asks, Wonder who to marry? And who's your princess duo? Prince Duasetagetale, in which her Prince Duasetagetale responds, Yes, father. 72 arrives at the ball just in time. Prince Duasetagetale sees his princess. He's walking towards me, said Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Eleonora, Natalia, Tasha, Yanina, Tina, Winona, and Una all together. But Prince Duasetagetale passed right by them, walks straight towards 72 Arella and says, You must be 72 Arella. May I please at this dance? Yes, said 72 Arella, overjoyed. And she and Prince Duasetagetale sing 72 times you and me as they dance. Come on, my princess, let's dance together. We'll be best friends forever. Who else could it be than 72 times you and me? Come on, my prince, Duasetagetale, let's dance together. We'll be best friends forever. Who else could it be than 70 times you and me? As the king of Duasetagetale watches them overjoyed. Halfway into the song, Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Eleonora, Natalia, Tasha, Yanina, Tina, Winona, and Una watch them jealously as they wanted Prince Duasetagetale to fall in true love with them. They shout all together, but soon 72 Arella checks her clock and it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball and she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. The next day, the king of Duasetagetale and the Prince Duasetagetale traveled all around the neighborhood trying to find 72 Arella, who captured Prince Duasetagetale's heart and brought the 2 glass slippers she lost with them. If they could find Prince Duasetagetale's princess, they can get married. By the time they arrive, Prince Duasetagetale knocks on the door of the home where 72 Arella and her dead, ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of 72 Arella, they find her ugly, mean, and wicked stepsisters, Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Estrella, Natalia, Tasha, Yanina, Tina, Winona, and Una. Prince Duasatajitamli then says, "Ladies, my father, the king of Duasatajitamlingham, and I have a favor to ask. Can any try on these glass slippers? Sabrina is first, but her feet are too big. Estrella is next, but her feet are too small." "Nonsense! They fit!" she said. The rest is the same thing, but neither of their feet fit either. Just then, 72-Arella arrives. She looks rather familiar and tries the glass slippers on. And they fit, because then she transforms back into a princess. 72-Arella, it's you, my dear daughter-in-law. We found you. Prince Duasatajitamli, my son, loves you. Will you marry him? Yes! Said 72-Arella, overjoyed again, and she, alongside the king of Duasatajitamlingham and Prince Duasatajitamli, lived happily ever after. The end. Sorry, Andrew's doers. The 70-number Cinderella parodies are not a daily tradition, though. But you know what they say. Rolling Stone gathers no algae. And Rolling Button gathers no seeds. It doesn't matter, though. Right? And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and Andrew Does Everything, and buy our merchandise. And AndrewDoesEverything.com. Take care. Bye.